Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Randisha, or Randy for short. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing the first video in my, I don't know what I'm going to call it just yet, but it's going to be like a how-to series, like how to set up a budget. So for any budget newbies. So I am going to be using the Happy Planner, the new 2020 budget planner from the Happy Planner, and that's most of the products, well, exclusively that's the products I'm going to be using in this video. So just a disclaimer, you do not need any specific notebook, specific pen, or anything like that. All you need is a pen and a planner or notebook, whatever that you like, in order to start budgeting. You could do it electronically if you want to, whatever you want to do, but the most important thing is to just get started. So with that, let's hop into basically an overview of how I'm going to set up my 2020 planner. It's not done yet because I still need to, make it pretty and stuff like that, but I didn't want to have you guys wait on my perfection syndrome in order to see, get the ideas and stuff behind my 2020 budget planner setup. So this is the calendar page. It's blank right now, but this is going to be my January monthly calendar. I like to decorate the monthly calendar of my budget planner, but it's not necessary at all. Just writing in your expenses is good enough. So again, I like to write in my monthly expenses on my monthly calendar so that I can see what is due when, because I am a very visual person and I like to see that. Plus, you'll see in my budget plan with me, or budget with me, how I use this monthly calendar. So for right now, it's just blank. And then with some of the ways that I've used the sidebar is I'll do a budget summary of like the month, like how much did we bring in, how much went out in like different categories. So like food, gas, overall expenses, lifestyle expenses, stuff like that. I've put right here. I've also put things that I need to note for next month. I've put things that I need to just note down, like for home repairs. I'll note like, oh, we'll need a filter in such and such months. So for the next filter renewal type thing. So that's what I've used it for. But for right now, these last few months, I haven't been using my sidebar. I've just been putting motivational stickers and things like that right there. So just trying to give you an idea of how you can use that sidebar, even though I'm currently not using it. Okay, so I popped in this half sheet expense tracker right here because I've done this in the past where, say like I get an idea for a date night 6 months from now. I want to note it somewhere. I don't want to note it in my perpetual calendar. And for those of you who don't know, because I know we call it different things in the planner community, a perpetual calendar is this calendar. So I know some people call it years at a glance, whatever you want to call it. But I call it a perpetual calendar. So I don't want to note it on my perpetual calendar because I don't know if it's going to happen or not. So there's only so much space on this perpetual calendar, and I don't want to kind of like fill it up prematurely with stuff that may or may not happen. So I like to save my perpetual calendar for things that I know for sure are going to happen. So that's why I popped in this expense tracker. And right here, I put just, the estimated date of kind of like when I want it to happen. If I don't know, I'll just leave it blank. So this is like an example. So for date night in January, I'm thinking that we'll spend maybe about $50, and I X these two out. They say cash and debit, and this says credit, but I don't use those little columns. I just X that out as more writing space. And then right here, I do like to put check it off whether it's been paid or not, because come January, if I've had an idea I just want to mark this off. Whether this is right or not, at that point, it doesn't matter. I just want to check it off so that visually I know that I don't have to look at this. So that's how I will be using that. Okay, so this is a new layout. There's a lot of sticky notes and stuff here because it's just basically, I want to make sure that I tell you guys how I'm going to use these sections. So this very top part right here, I'm not going to read it, but it's basically just the income and then your totals for like your income and expenses. I'm not going to use this part because one, I noticed that in the income section, there's only 3 spaces and me and my husband work. So I would have liked to track how much each paycheck was. Because that's our only source of income right now is our paycheck. So minimum, I need 4 spaces in order for this to be functional. And since there's only 3, then I'm not really going to use it. Yes, I could combine our income amount on this one line for the month, or I could put my income for the month and then his income for the month. But that really wouldn't tell me anything. So basically the way I like to set up my budget is each page or each section needs to tell me something useful that another section does not tell me. So say my husband took a day off from work. He gets paid by the hour and he has overtime rolled into his paycheck. So that's really significant if he takes a day off, because how his job works, he works in the medical field. I'm not going to say exactly what he does because I talked to him before announcing that I was going to do a budget to make sure he was cool with me basically exposing our finances and stuff. So he said yes, but not his profession, like his exact profession. So I'm going to respect the man's privacy, and I hope you guys will too. But I will let you know that he works in the medical field and he works 12-hour shifts. So 4 of those hours are overtime. So if he takes a day off, that 4 hours of overtime becomes regular time with his PTO. So he didn't work. So he gets paid for it, but he doesn't get the overtime. That's something I want to know. So if I lump his paychecks together, when I look back on this, or like say it's like midway through the month or whatever, when I look back on his paycheck and I total it and it's lower, I don't have anywhere around here to write like a note that his paycheck, that a certain paycheck is going to be low. Like, I don't know if it's in the beginning of the month, the end of the month, like, I don't know. So that's why I'm not using this section. And then again, income and expenses and like the remaining total, that tells me nothing. So nothing significant. So I'm not going to use that section. Okay. So this section right here, I'm going to use for my cash envelopes. And when I say cash envelopes, I really mean like digital cash envelopes. So you'll see in my budget with me, like more details on that, but I'm not trying to make this a super long video. So, I'm not going to go into like super details, but just know that this is, for my cash envelopes. It has date, bill description, category, amount, and paid. I probably won't use this category section, cause I don't really need it, but for the most part, I'm going to use this section as is. Right here says savings tracker, and it has date, account, activity, and balance. I'm going to use this section as is, but this is going to be my sinking fund distribution section. So basically anything that I pay out of my sinking funds, I want to track right here. And I want to use this smaller section because I'm using this bottom section right here for my actual sinking fund category. So I know it says accounts and debts, but I'm not going to be using this section as such. So I can use the smaller section because the way I do my sinking funds, I only track things that are unexpected, so large amounts that are unexpected. So say like our HVAC breaks down in our house. That's pretty expensive and HVAC is your heating and your air conditioning. So that's pretty expensive to replace, or like, Lord forbid, we get a hole in the roof or something. That's pretty expensive. So I want to note what that large amount that came out of our sinking funds was for. And then I also track predictable but infrequent expenses in my sinking funds. So predictable but infrequent, by that I mean your car insurance. So one day I hope that we'll be able to pay our car insurance in one lump sum. So I don't know how much our car insurance is going to be when it comes time to renew. But I can kind of like estimate the figure. So I know it's coming, but it only comes once a year, and I don't know the exact amount. So that's why I will want it to be a sinking fund. And then I also track reoccurring events or time periods. And by that, I mean birthdays are reoccurring events. And then Christmas is like a reoccurring time period. So do I need new Christmas decor? We just moved to our house back in May. So this house is significantly larger than the condo we were at. We were at a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo before our baby was born. And then after he was born and we decided that we wanted more kids, we moved to this house. And this house is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house. So, you know, all of the stuff that came from our condo, even though we have furniture, it's not going to fill up this big house. So, specifically Christmas decor, it was a small condo. So I'm going to need way more Christmas decor. I'm going to need lights for outside and things like that. So you guys get the point. So right here, this is a monthly challenge. I may or may not participate in the monthly challenges. It just depends on how I feel that month. But if I will not, then I'm just going to slap a sticker over this. And then right here, I'm going to track what I'm calling rollover. And basically, our rollover is the first week of the month. So basically, from the first until the day before our next pay period. So we get a check. Me and my husband are on different pay cycles. So he gets paid one Friday and then I get paid the next Friday. So we have a check coming in every Friday. So we get paid weekly. So this rollover, basically that first week from the first until the next Friday that we get paid. So say like we get paid on the 6th. Our mortgage is on the 1st. And then I'm going to write down everything, all expenses, just expenses that occur from the 1st to the 5th because we get paid on the 6th. I'm going to write them down right here and how much they cost, because throughout, say like this is January. So say this was $3,000. This total right here was $3,000 is the rollover amount we need for that first week of January to cover all of our expenses. Our checks will not cover $3,000 in one week or one pay period, whatever. So I want to break up this $3,000 throughout the month of December. So I want to save up for it. So each time we get paid, I'll tuck away like $500 here, $1,500 here, $200 here, and you know, the change, the remaining balance on the last week, so that when the first week of January rolls around, we will have breathing room. We will be able to get our mortgage paid. This is our security system. Well, both of these are our security systems. So we'll be able to pay all of these. And I know that we won't be kind of like stretched too thin that first week, because one of our checks will not cover this whole amount. So you get it? If you don't get it, just leave me a comment down below. Anything I say in this video, if you don't get it, just leave me a comment down below and I'll happily answer in more detail, or, you know, just stay tuned throughout the budget series and I will give more details as we go along. Or you could follow me on Instagram or DM me on Instagram. It's the same as my handle on YouTube, Randy, the number 4, and then short, Randy for short. So yeah, moving on. Okay, so this weekly expenses page, I'm going to use this as a planned expenses tracker or page, whatever. This originally came with pre-filled categories like gas, groceries, entertainment, stuff like that. And then right here was something like, what do you deserve a gold star for this week? And then what could you do better next week? This section right here, I'm just going to be writing down like more of my social events. So things that occur that month. So say like someone has a birthday, I'm going to write down such and such birthday gift. And then I'm going to put the amount that I'm going to budget for it, and then I'm going to put the actual amount that I paid for it. So that way it's on my radar, and then I know outside of bills and debt and things like that, this right here will tell me like lifestyle type of expenses. Okay, and then I'm also going to use this. If you can see this, it says in parentheses, unplanned expenses. So I'm also going to use this for any unplanned expenses. So say that birthday gift got canceled because they, I don't know, or like I set aside some money for a birthday dinner. There we go. I set aside some money for a birthday dinner. That person is no longer going to have a birthday dinner. So that money gets freed up. But say later in the month, unexpectedly, my friends want to go out and do something. So I can just look and see, is there any money that I could free up in this section to cover that unplanned expense without having to like blow my budget or something like that. Because the things on this page, these pages have to get paid. Like these are our 4 walls. And by that, I mean like, food, gas or transportation to get to work, make money, and like the roof over our heads, our utilities, our mortgage, things like that have to get paid. And then right here, I don't have to do the sinking funds. So I take that back, just this side. I don't have to do the sinking funds, but still, it will be like if I was to move around money, this would be the first place I would look in order to see if I could free up money, because these are just social things that we want to do. So this page is basically wants. So if I need some money, I'm going here and be like, I'm not going to that birthday dinner. We're not going to eat out this day. We're not going to do that date night, things like that. So down here, I covered up the questions or the prompts because I typically don't like prompts, just because like, what do I deserve a gold star for? I mean, that one's not bad. That one, it's like you're reflecting on what you did good, what worked, things like that. But the second question was, what could I do better next week? And I just feel like that's kind of discouraging especially if you're a new budget person. If you're constantly writing what you could do better, then that's discouraging, because it's like that's constantly saying that you didn't do good and all that. Like, you don't have to fill out this section, of course. But it's just like just seeing it, because I'm a visual person. Like I said, just seeing it just constantly says like, oh, you didn't do a good job. You need to work harder and stuff like that. When it's just like, dude, if I'm a new budget person, then I'm doing the best that I can. I'm learning along the way. And I still learn, even though I've been budgeting for some years now. But I would rather turn this into something else. I would rather not associate it personally and just maybe change up the question, or just look at the question as what could you do in your process to improve your process. And that way it's like, what didn't work and how can you improve that? Not that you're not doing a good job. So you kind of see what I'm saying? But yeah, so this page came, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a graph or grid fill paper. So right here, I'm going to use it as my own prompts. So I like to put notes for this month's budget. So if something comes up that I want to make a note for during the month, I'll just write it right here, because there's not a lot of space on these trackers and stuff to write notes. So if I need to write an extensive note for that month, then I'm going to write it right here. And then right here is what I was saying, things to try and / process improvement. So basically, if I come up with a thought of how I could do this unplanned expenses better, I'm going to jot it down right here for next month and going forward, just to try it out to see if it improves my process and things like that. So it's not so much a reflection of I'm doing something wrong or what I'm doing isn't good enough. Like, no, sometimes this works. Like what I'm doing here works, but sometimes I want to try something new. Maybe I watched a Planner Babes video and she gave me an idea and I want to try it for next month because this is already set up for the month. I'm going to write it right here. So you get it. And then this is going to be notes for next month's budget. So again, if something comes up for next month's budget, my next month's budget probably isn't set up yet. So I want to give myself some space to roll over like my comments for next month. So while I'm setting it up, setting up my next month's budget, I'll look right here and be like, oh, is there anything that I needed to remember? So again, say my husband took a day off work and because you get paid for the prior 2 weeks that you worked. So if he took a day off in, this is January. So he took a day off in January, and those 2 weeks is going to affect the first paycheck of February. I need to know that. So because I'm not budgeting on the entire normal total that I normally would for the month, because I already know that his check is going to be lower. So you get it. And then right here, I'm going to write next month's rollover. So just to revisit, this right here is this current month's rollover. And then I'll put the next month's rollover right here. I don't know. I just like to do it just in case, say like it's tax return season and we unexpectedly get a tax return. Well, not a tax return. We unexpectedly get a refund. Well, it'll be good to know like this is an option for that refund. Like we could start to get ahead of our monthly bills. And that is one of our goals for 2020 is to get at least 1 month ahead of our bills. So I could put it like if we get a certain amount back, I can look and see right here if that'll cover next month's rollover. So, just more information for the budget. I'm not going to use this page. So yeah, like unexpected spends. I already have an unplanned expense tracker. So I don't even know, like this is for the month of February. So I don't know why this section is right here, because I will want unexpected spends to be in my current month. So right here is a section for don't forget. I don't need that section because I have my my notes page right here. And then budget for the month. Of course, you put your month. And then financial goals. I'm probably going to use like a half sheet and like decorate it for my financial goals so it stays in my current month. So yeah. So that's basically it of how I'm going to set up my budget every month, like the pages I'm going to use. I'm only going to use this one page, this page, And then I'm going to use just one page of weekly expenses and then that blank notes page in the 2020 budget planner from the Happy Planner. So the rest of these pages are just references. If you do not have these pages from the Happy Planner, it is okay. Just take the ideas and the concepts and get a notebook, grab a pen, and start doing it. You can always pick up this budget planner later if this is the planner that you want, or you can always get a nicer planner later. So it's all about getting started and figuring out your finances. That is basically the end of my overview. I will come back and do like a setup or budget with me type thing, but I just want to give you guys my thoughts on how I'm going to set up my budget, just so if you find any tips or whatever, then you can implement them in your budget before the year begins. And if you're a budget newbie, then maybe you could try my system and you could try it as your starting point and then develop it over time to suit you. So again, or just take tips and little things that I'm doing in order to start your budget, even if you're a new budgeter. You don't need my entire system. Just see what works for you, what doesn't. You don't need to exactly copy what I'm doing because my situation is not your situation. Everybody's budget is different and everybody's situation is different. So what works for me may not work for you. I'm just trying to show you what I do in order to hopefully give you some tips on how to do things. So I will say that since I no longer do paycheck to paycheck, I know it is a lot of people that do paycheck to paycheck budget. So I'm going to set up my planner the way I do it now, which is basically on a monthly basis type thing. But I'm going to do a video of the way I do it and like a budget with me, the way I do it currently, which is on a week to week paycheck. But I'm also, it depends on how long that video gets, but I'll probably do a completely separate video of showing you if I were to go back to paycheck, where basically we get paid every 2 weeks or twice a month, then how this budget would look. It will basically be the same setup, except that I would use the sections a little bit differently, and I would have I would do things a little bit differently. And also I'm going to cater that paycheck to paycheck system to just in case you don't use cash envelopes. You can use it in that way for you. And then if you do use cash envelopes, I'm going to lump that all into one video of if I was doing cash envelopes on a paycheck to paycheck type system, how this setup will work for you. So yeah, so those are the videos I'm thinking about putting out. If there is something that you want to see in regards to budget setups or something like that, just leave a comment down below, and I respond to every comment. So if you have a video suggestion for the budget, let me know, and I will do my best to make a video for it to help you out. So if it hasn't already been answered in another video that I plan to make. So yeah, if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of the videos that I have that are going to be coming up in my how to budget series, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.